You've seen the legend of 300 warriors against an entire army. But the most epic battle ever is one that is actually true. However, this battle wasn't fought with weapons of war, but with a sovereign God who controls the universe. We will hear directly from him shortly, but first, we need to meet the man he chose to pull off the impossible, a man named Gideon. We first meet Gideon threshing wheat in a wine press, hiding from the Midianites. Hardly the picture of a valiant warrior. Full of fear, he questions God's presence in the midst of his people's suffering. But an angel of the Lord appeared and said unto him, "The Lord is with you, Gideon." "If the Lord is with us," he asks the angel, "why are the Midianites defeating us in our land?" Then the Lord himself responded to Gideon, "Go, for it is I that send thee to deliver Israel from the hand of the Midianites." But Gideon questioned whether this was really God speaking to him. After all, Gideon was from one of the poorest families, and of his house, he was considered the least important. Surely God might have the wrong person for the task, he thought. But God responded again, "Go, for I will be with thee." However, Gideon, like many of us do when God's calling seems too daunting, needed reassurance. He decided to ask for signs, not once, but multiple times. He needed a tangible confirmation that this wasn't just his own wishful thinking or a recipe for disaster. And God, in his patience, met Gideon in his fear and provided those signs. God was with him. But then, God does something utterly baffling to human logic. The Midianite army was a vast horde, over 135,000 strong, and Gideon had recruited almost 32,000 Israelites. But before he could gather even another soul, the Lord stopped Gideon. "The people with you are too many," he said. So God whittles them down, first to 10,000, then to a mere 300 men. 300 men against a vast, well-trained army. Impossible odds. And if that weren't enough, God had one more command for Gideon. These 300 men were to arm themselves not with swords or spears or armor, but with trumpets, empty jars, and torches. This wasn't just an impossible task, it was strategically insane by any human standard. The assignment wasn't for Gideon to win a battle, not in the way the world understands winning. The assignment was to listen, to trust, and to obey God's very specific, very unusual instructions, because God himself had already decreed the outcome. Gideon's role was simply to walk by faith, even when every step seemed to defy reason. And in the dead of night, following God's bizarre battle plan, these 300 men blew their trumpets, smashed their jars, and held their torches high, shouting, "A sword for the Lord and for Gideon!" And what happened? The Midianites, in their terror and confusion, began to attack each other. Without even engaging in battle, the enemy had defeated themselves. 300 men, armed with nothing but faith and obedience, routed a mighty army. God's plan had worked. And it worked because He is ruler of the universe, and He had planned all of this directly from His throne. My child, when the task before you seems impossible, remember Gideon. He saw his weakness. But I know my strength. His fears were real, But he chose to obey, even when it seemed illogical. So, fear not, when you face a battle you cannot overcome. This is the very moment to trust me most. For it is not by your might, nor by your power, but by my Spirit that victory is won. Your part is not to win, but to walk by faith. Look at Gideon. He trusted the outcome to my hands. And, like him, your weapons are the trumpet of praise and the torch of my illuminating word. Walk in obedience and believe. I will fight for you. You need only to stand still. For even at your weakest, I am the strongest. I am your refuge and your strength. I am your ever-present help in times of trouble. And with me, all things are possible. Gideon's story is a promise for all of us. You don't have to be strong. You just have to be willing to trust. Continue with us on this journey. Click subscribe to continue to hear God now.